In this video, we will be taking a look at how Doom the Dark Ages is better than Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal is bad. Okay, nah, I'm just joking. Eternal is definitely a great game, but if I'm being 100% honest here, the initial reveal and the super goreness showcase didn't really catch my interest back when Doom Eternal was first revealed. Of course, that changed drastically with the Mars core demo, but Doom the Dark Ages is a completely different story, as it's evident just from this trailer alone that they are going balls to the walls and are majorly changing things up. So I wanna talk about it because I fuck with it. Okay, so first off, the scene with the Doomslayer, yes, I'm calling him Doomslayer because I reject the shitty lore of Eternal, fuck you. But yeah, that scene with him grabbing the SSG really looks like the intro cutscene, same as the scene with him suiting up in Eternal at the beginning of the first level. Of course, there is a possibility it's not that, but if they do decide to start you off with an SSG, now that's gonna be a pretty interesting shakeup. Not to mention, with how they're changing up their weapon roster, it's definitely not out of the question. I mean, let's be realistic, the only way they can ever beat Doom 2 is if they don't ever compete with it, but jokes aside, seeing them switch things up this much after all this time is definitely a very ballsy move, and I'm very open to it. It's gonna be very interesting to play at the very least. Now, when it comes to weapon damage and enemy placement, that is 100% down for the trailer, as evident by all of Eternal's trailers. So there's no telling how these weapons will actually be used in terms of actual gameplay, or how the enemy encounters are going to play out. I mean, do you really think the SSG is going to be one-shotting this super coked up mancubus? Like, let's be realistic. Now, speaking of enemies, we do get to see this new boyo here throwing out one green projectile, so it's obvious you'll be able to play off that green projectile in some way, which is not yet clear exactly how. The enemies in general are also reworked, with their projectiles being much slower, which does make sense seeing as they also reduce the player's speed in general. And this could also lead to some pretty bullet-helly encounters, so that's a very unique shakeup for a newer Doom game, considering 2016 and Eternal both had super fast projectiles. I also know it's gonna take a bunch of getting used to for a lot of people, but not me, because Doom Eternal already feels slow to me since I played Doom 2. Let's also mention the areas/arenas. They look more open with less covers, so maybe the bullet hell gameplay prediction isn't too far off. We'll definitely have to wait and see on that one, as there's not too much information to go off of here. And since the movement is slowed down, the shield looks to be one of the ways the players can close the gap against a particularly troublesome enemy. I mean, look at this Arachno baby over here. He definitely seems like a priority target with those fast as fuck projectiles. The shield throw is bound to have some massive upside to compensate for losing it for a few seconds. Again, whether that is just big boy damage or something else is not very clear because, well, trailer helped. I mean, if you have the shield, not only can you block, but you can also dash and parry, so there needs to be a reason for you to want to throw it. Now, that Prowler that got impaled does make me wonder if environmental hazards will be a thing in the game, or if that's just presentation. And let's also address the elephant in the room right now. I am seeing a suspicious lack of glory kills. I mean, in all other trailers for both Eternal and 2016, they have been one of the main things, so not seeing them here at all makes me wonder if they're removing them altogether. It's a surprising change, but a welcome one, because, let's face it, the most effective way to play 2016 and Eternal was to avoid them entirely, because they allow enemies to reposition off screen, meaning that after a glory kill, you are very vulnerable from all angles. In 2016 they don't even restore that much HP, and you'd be better off just killing enemies while you're at low HP anyways. And in Eternal, Chainsaw is just your get out of jail free card. Low ammo? Chainsaw. Low health? Also Chainsaw. And to make it worse, you had the Flame Belch, which, when burning a horde, gives you effectively an instant armor refill. I mean, if you're someone who thinks the Screwdriver in Ultra Kill is anything but useless, then you have not seen the Flame Belch, I'm just saying. So with all that in mind, getting rid of glory kills does also make me wonder how the resource economy is going to work. That's not something that was shown off in the trailer, so it's really anyone's guess. But one thing that was shown in the trailer was the mace and melee, which, alongside the shield, seem to be where a lot of your combo potential comes from. So it could be tied to that, or it couldn't, don't know, don't particularly care, either way, so long as the game is fun. At the end of the day, design is almost entirely subjective, and anyone who claims otherwise is completely fucking retarded. Now let's talk about the mech and the dragon. A lot of people seem to be creaming over the mech, but honestly, if you cannot suplex a titan, I don't give a fuck about the mech. I'm Team Dragon all the way. But jokes aside, I really hope these segments aren't just scripted or otherwise gimmicks. I really want them to do what Infinite Warfare did, where you had your boots on the ground combat, and then also your jet, with both being equally as fleshed out. If there's one thing I want from this game, it is definitely that. Now, I'm not gonna talk about the weapons too much, because there's not much to go off of, because, once again, trailer health and enemy placement. But they do certainly look interesting, and I look forward to giving them a try. As for the visuals, this game definitely has its own charm and art style separate from the other Doom games, and honestly, out of all the new Doom games, this Praetor suit is definitely my favorite so far. Then they showed off at least 3 notable new enemies. The first one being this scorpion looking ass motherfucker, which we got to see in action earlier, and the second being these arachnobes from Valiant. If anyone played that one, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, they didn't really show them off too much as they were just in the background. Now the last one is this newbie Doom Hunter who sucks at video gaming and gets the shit kicked out of him with the mace and Spartan kicks. There's not too much to go off of in terms of guessing how he's gonna work, but I assume he's gonna be resistant to ranged attacks going off the shield and how the players will be able to use it, and that he'll try to use that advantage to close the distance. I also know I touched on this earlier, but I feel like the glory kills being replaced with these melee options will help the gameplay feel a lot more fluid when the player is not locked into an animation, meaning they will likely have far more uses than glory kills. That is, again, assuming that glory kills are not in the game. It is just the first trailer after all, so it's kinda hard to predict how the final game will actually play and what features will be present. As for the environments, that's not something that I can really judge just yet, considering we only saw 1 level, maybe 2 if the Skull Shredder gun segment was from a different level, but I feel like it's not. So we're gonna need to see a whole lot more to actually get the feel for the different environments. Same with the weapons. Until they show off some unscripted gameplay, it will be hard to tell how these weapons are gonna be used apart from the obvious, like Plasma Rifle for suppressing, the Skull Shredder for crowd control, and SSG and the Blade Launcher for single target DPS. There also don't really seem to be traditional weaknesses either, at least not from what they've shown. Again, they could still be here, but even if they're not, that's not really a bad thing, as games like Classic Doom and Ultrakill have proven, with their more intrinsically motivated weaknesses, instead of always being forced to switch to one of 3 weapons just to deal with a given enemy. I mean, do you really want to switch to an otherwise underpowered weapon to deal with the Stone Imps or the Spirit just because you have to? I don't think so. And it looks like they definitely embraced the power-walking Doomslayer. Jokes aside, it's gonna be a nice change of pace and give them room to do something unique instead of just fixing the previous game, which definitely seems like was the case for 2016 and Eternal. They are by no means bad games, mind you, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Like, Doom 2016 was trying to get away from the Doom 3/original Doom 4 concept and go back to its roots, which led to it being extremely crunched. Taking that into consideration, it turned out extremely well. Then we have Eternal, which from the initial showcase really felt like more of Doom 2016, at least to me, which is the main reason why I didn't really like the initial showcase. But then, when they drastically changed it for the next E3 and showed off the Mars Core demo, it got me hooked ever since then. And now with Dark Ages, it seems like they're trying something completely new and unique, and well, you can see how that turned out. What can I say, the game looks great. I'm probably gonna become an addict again like what happened with Eternal, so god fucking damn it. Though, if you want to enjoy this game, just avoid most media surrounding it. Especially Reddit, unless you wanna be exposed to the retarded motherfuckers bitching about every minuscule and insignificant thing about the game. Like what happened with Doom Eternal. I know it's not saying much considering it's Reddit, but in case you want to actually enjoy a game, stay as far away as humanly possible, thank me later. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Be sure to like and subscribe to boost me in the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.